Well, okay, let's. I just want to get started, if that's all right with everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the 11th monthly the Rosedale Club meeting. We have almost hit number 12, and it's quite extraordinary because it feels like I've been doing this for ages, but it's only been 11 different months, and I'm very honored to be hosting this event again in my place. Thank you so much for coming out. I know it's very difficult to get here from downtown. You have to transfer from subway to streetcar and walk over here, but I'm glad that some stoners aren't lazy, so that's always a good sign. I'm very stoked to have all of you here. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I was walking around and some people were staring at my face. I have a scratch on my nose, and there were some people were asking me, "What's up with the scratch on your nose?" And I said, "Well, let me just keep it at this. I have a cat. His name is Marley, and he doesn't appreciate it when I hog the bong." And here you go. Now, for our new friends here at the Rosedale Club, I just want to kind of give you a brief overview of what this club's about, what the organization does, and why we're here today. Now, the Rosedale Club is an organization that was started by, young people like myself. And our objective was essentially to host events once a month in living room settings across Canada, and we've even had one event in Montreal. And the idea is to, get the discussion going, talk about issues that matter to us the most. These are issues that range from, Canada's role in the international playing field to Conrad Black's wine preference. So we've had some interesting events, and the Rosedale Club, encourages grassroots level, community talks, very much like this, to talk about very important issues. And today's topic is pot. Now, cannabis is very important. Whether you agree with it or not, it is. We're living in a time where it's slowly taking over the news. We see a lot of states in the United States moving towards legalization, and now people here in Canada are talking about it. They're talking about what I believe to be, or what many people believe to be, a very broken system, which is a war on drugs. And we have two very special guests here to talk about that. Now, of course, before I introduce these special guests, I just want to go over some formalities. We have a tradition here at the Rosedale Club, for those of you who haven't been here. We start off by raising our glass to that one thing that unites us all, and that is this country. Now, we all have different political views. Some are slightly more conservative, some are somewhat liberal, but that doesn't matter here. Here we are here as that flag shows, under one flag for one country. So, so I raise my glass to Canada.
Mm-hmm. Cheers.
To Canada.
Cheers. Lovely.
And God save the Queen.
Yeah, and that. I would also encourage all of you to use your phones. I know a lot of talks don't allow you to use your phones, but I would encourage you to tweet. And we have a special hashtag. It's called the Rosedale Club. Tweet about it as much as you want. Tell your friends about what a fun time you're having here tonight. Now we're gonna have these two gentlemen speak for as long as they want. After which they will be a moderated question and answer session. So if you have any questions regarding cannabis laws or how it tastes or whatever you want to know, this is your time to ask. So let me get to it. Tonight we welcome two very special guests. On my left here I have Mr. Matt Mernagh. Matt Mernagh is a very interesting figure. I've met him many times in a very famous venue in Toronto called the Vapor Central, and he is basically the man who's known for almost making pot legal in Canada. He fought a very famous court case that I'm sure you might talk about, and he writes for the Huffington Post. He has his own blog, and he does different talks all across Toronto and even Canada. And on my right, we have Dr. Craig Jones, all the way from Kingston, Ontario, and I'm very grateful you could join us this evening. He works for an amazing organization called NORML. I know many of you are from that organization as well. This is an organization that takes pride in pushing for fair laws, the fair laws that bring access and resources to people who really need them. They fight for for the decriminalization of private use of cannabis. So this is an organization that's done the research, that's kind of moved past the social stigma surrounding the use of cannabis. So I commend their work, and I'm very honored to have both of you here. So whoever wants to go first, don't fight.
I'll go first.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Mernagh.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, no, I'm glad you
And thanks everyone for coming out. The title of my talk actually was entitled "How Dreaming Big Almost Ended Marijuana Prohibition and Has Me Believing I Can Become a Politician." I'm a dreamer. It happens when you live with constant pain. It happens, you learn to escape your thoughts. You learn to be outside the pain, but in the Dawn jail, dreams go to die. Dreams and the soul of a man die in jail. Canada's worst jail is designed to crush your dreams, but in this horrible place, my lawyer and my friend Paul Lewin hatched a plan to strike down Canada's marijuana laws. Vice.com refers to me as the man who almost made marijuana legal, but Paul Lewin had quite a big hand in it doing it too. You could say though that I'm 1 in 100,000 worldwide. I have a rare brain tumor, it's called a schwannoma, it's up here, and 1 in 100,000 people in the world will have one. However, in the course of trial preparation, Paul Lewin taught me never to use the words rare brain tumor, fearing that the Crown would seize upon my testimony as, well, we don't know about it, it's rare, it's in his brain, it's so in the state marijuana prohibition, I was always taught just to say it's a brain tumor. But I'm taking it back tonight. I have a rare brain tumor. It's the kind of brain tumor where when you go to Princess Margaret Hospital, the Gamma Knife unit, and that all the doctors come to see it because they've never seen it before. The Princess Margaret Hospital, our biggest hospital, the specialists of brains, have never seen the tumor I have. So despite a slew of health problems, I have fibromyalgia, I've had scoliosis, these cause depression issues. I was put in the Dawn jail for drawing a plan. The justice commented at my bail hearing that has to be the biggest balcony in the city because I had figured out how to put 32 marijuana plants on a balcony that was 400 feet high in the air with a water supply and it faced south. To me, I didn't think the cops would come. In fact, I know in 2011, the Toronto Police Service busted 33 marijuana growers that whole year. It's an incredibly low number. It takes a domestic disturbance for a personal grower to get busted. My neighbor had such a domestic disturbance. I can now tell you that during the course of my neighbor's domestic disturbance, the Toronto Police Service decided to look over his balcony privacy and into mine. I was in their custody before they even had a warrant. My mistake at the time was having a bail condition from yet another personal grow charge. I'm just trying to cure myself. I'm just trying to make my life better. But I didn't recognize at the time that a bail condition not to grow marijuana was actually exceedingly serious. So I spent 2 weeks in the Dawn jail, but in the end, 3 months later, all the charges related to my marijuana grow in Toronto disappeared. However, it disappeared just like my belongings, my pets that the police killed, my life, my apartment. I lost everything. I was essentially homeless on my friend's couch, who is a dearest friend, who opted to put up his life savings to bail me out of jail. During this time, we hatched a plan, 6 years ago. And let me tell you, recently, we checked off everything on that list. Everything we had determined we would do. The payback for the government putting me in jail was that the government was going to lose their law on prohibition. I guess you could say you don't want to piss me off, because I really will fight you. But don't worry, I don't use this energy on petty disputes. It's an absolute great energy. When you prepare to climb a mountain, and I have climbed one, by the way. I climbed the Grouse Mountain this past summer, a goal that I never believed would be doable 5 years ago. But 2 years ago, when I was in Vancouver, I realized that this goal could be doable because I had spent the last 2.5 years doing Pilates. So not only did I do the grouse grind, I did it in the average time. But when you climb a mountain, no one wants to go with you. Thankfully, I was able to rope in my friend Adam Glover to do the grouse grind with me, just like I was able to rope in my friend and lawyer, Paul Lewin, to do a charter challenge with me, to dream. Because dreams are best when you share them with the person you love, you care with, or have a best friend to share that dream with. Because they're the only person that's going to believe in you. And by the way, I am single. I just want to put that out there. But I'm fortunate to have great friends, especially a friend like Paul Lewin and many, many others. Many are here tonight. 22 people came forward in RV Mernagh at a time when it was still difficult to get people to come forward for medical marijuana. I know because when I won, I had thousands of people come forward. So many so they locked up my inbox of my email. My email didn't work for days and days on end because so many people were trying to contact me. We encountered every problem along the way. That's what big dreams are about. We encountered funding problems. We encountered problems of trying to get a witness affidavit in Vancouver, BC signed by a lawyer. So you start making calls to lawyers in BC and you have leads. And then you have to get the client to the lawyer and they have to sign paperwork. But 5.5 years is a long time to carry a belief that you can bitch slap prohibition. I wanted to quit, and let me tell you, Paul Lewin heavily grilling you for cross-examine testimony will make you cry, it will make you quit. But if I'm Rocky, which is often what I'm compared to at 105 pounds, that would make my lawyer Mickey. Together we need each other. It's okay to say you want to quit on a big dream, but it's the idea that you get back up in the face of adversity that makes your big dreams a reality. Especially considering the adversity your big dreams are going to face. The bigger your dream, the more the haters are going to come out. And in the day of social media, there are more haters to people who big dream. The haters are the people that are the nightmares of your big dreams. Because Paul and I were not just pushing against the system, but you will encounter, as we did, that you think you have this incredible support base. But the reality is that people's negative energy, it will whittle your nightmare, or will whittle your support base down to a simple family compact unit. To dream larger than life, you'll need to surround yourself with positivity. But don't expect this to be this large base. It's like your family compact unit. Even presidential candidates. And I recently watched the Mitt Romney documentary. Romney's campaign came down to a small, compact family unit. And whether they're your friends, your actual family, or someone. But Margaret Mead, a fellow MM, by the way, she sums it up best. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Without my mom and dad, my extended family, I assure you, I would have put out an RV Mernagh long before it was ruled by Justice Taliano. I made monthly bus trips for years for court appearances that would go no more than 5 minutes. And let me tell you, they went for months at a time. And just recently, I just did the last 10-month stretch of doing these every month court dates. I just finished that in November. So for the first time in almost 6 years, as of November, I'm no longer beholden to our justice system. Even when we won my court case, RV Mernagh, which almost struck down the marijuana laws, I was still engaged in the political system because within 7 days of winning, I was served by the Crown. I only had a 7-day window of actually being free. The Crown served and said, we're appealing. I actually said to the guy who left, I was like, it's okay, I was expecting you, but he was running. You know, what a ride we served, friends. Thank you for all seeing it to the end. We're done. RV Mernagh is done. But we raised the bar for the next dreamers. And that's important. The next dreamers are out there. There's a great big court case by John Conroy. And those people are going to really need to dream big because I know what they're in for. And it's going to be very long, and it's going to be tiring, and it's going to be tough. And people are going to not like it. But I wish them all the best. I had most of November and December off, and I spent that time promoting my book, The Marijuana Smoker's Guide, The Easy Way to Identify and Enjoy Marijuana Strains. And we sold a great deal of copies. At some points we were like well in the 100,000 range of the most sold books on Amazon. We did exceedingly well in the states of Washington and Colorado. We did CBS in Seattle. People are laughing because they know what we're getting to. So with only 2 months off, like November and December, to promote the book, and of course I wrote the book while the court case was going on, because you gotta have other projects than just court. I realized there were no stiff challenges ahead of me, nothing to excite the blood like the court work did. Like, I really enjoyed working on this court case. So I had to have a new dream. I really did. I had to come up with a new dream. So I came up with a dream to become a politician. And a lot of people think that's a nightmare. But to me, it was a dream and a challenge I wanted and could pursue. Because for the record, I've been a member of the NDP longer than its current leader, and I've attended their provincial and federal conventions and policy debates for the last decade. I volunteered on campaigns, and I enjoy the political processing. And I encourage everyone to get involved with the political processing, because it's not just about voting anymore. It's about joining a political party. It's about becoming involved. And be a positive voice for prohibition, at whatever political party you're at. I don't have a criminal record, unlike our current mayor and my city councilor. My city councilor got charged and convicted of DUI during her first term in office. So all this time talking about prohibition, developing a court case with Paul Lewin, which includes heavy decision making. I will admit, now that the cameras are rolling, because Paul really beats himself up on this, at the end of the day, it was my decision not to subpoena the doctors that ultimately failed in my court case. Paul and I have already made a decision that we will revisit the court ruling in 2 years from now, and this time we will make not such a mistake. You learn from these mistakes. But let me tell you, we spent 4 weeks deciding, do we subpoena 100+ doctors and drag every one of these doctors into court? And at the end of the day, it wasn't about us and the doctors, it was about us and the government. And I made that decision. It was a hard one to make, but I accept responsibility for not subpoenaing those doctors. But my new dream is for public office, and I'm prepared to double my efforts, and I have the transferable skills that are required for public office. I want Toronto to dream big with me, because that's what we desire. We desire larger-than-life projects brought to you and led by the person that delivered R.V. Mernagh, a court case that within 90 days almost struck down Canada's marijuana laws. Big goals and dreams are not easy to achieve. They require a stubborn, positive amount of energy. The federal government fought us every step of the way in R.V. Mernagh, and I'll give you an example. When we served Health Canada with a warrant, Health Canada fought us and said it was frivolous. We spent months in court arguing and arguing. On the day of the ruling, while we were just sitting waiting for the justice to come out, the Crown actually turned to Paul and said, we'll appeal this. And if we won, he was already prepared to go to the Ontario Court of Appeal and say our court case was frivolous. We didn't even get a day to start. They were starting right at the subpoena. We won that skirmish, and slowly Health Canada had to start responding to our questions. And they would submit volumes of material that would take up a table like this the day before court at 5 p.m. So we would have to read it before going to court. And let's say, people ask if I don't understand politics. The first time the first piece of data came to us, the first page said that Health Canada had improved this program by 500%. I looked at Paul and I said, all these stats are wrong. And Paul looked at me and he said, how do you know? You haven't even read them. Most people know that I am a cannabis advocate. I have been for some time, but they overlooked the fact that now had sent me on some very intense government-related assignments of reading heavy documents, getting documents, and without now support and allowing me to cover the war resistors movement and some of the other lovely movements that they allowed me to cover from pulling out government documents, I would have never known what I did, because the numbers didn't pass the smell test journalistically, because any government program that improved 500% would have a minister of, exactly, you're laughing, you get where I'm going. The minister would stand up and say our program improved 500%, and all their colleagues would clap and cheer. It just didn't make sense. If it had improved 50%, we would have been screwed. But they tried to come to court and blow stats up their back. And it's not right. So where are we at? We have a federal medical marijuana program. A program that receives an incredible amount of media. But it's never been debated in the House of Commons. Because the Liberals, when they first introduced medical marijuana, did want to introduce legislation. They opted to sneakily use the Canada Gazette to create a medical marijuana program because they were frightened to take it into the House of Commons. It's the exact same thing that the Conservatives did with their program. They simply rewrote a program through the Gazette. It was easy to do. Meanwhile, one of the most important programs in our country that affects a billion-dollar industry that the Conservative government created. They created a billion-dollar industry, but it was never debated in the House of Commons. They used the Canada Gazette. I don't slander Health Canada with the words contempt lightly, but I was there when Justice Taliano told them, I have ways of making you answer questions. This is an agency that is not helping medical marijuana patients ever. The patients has never been put first. And we saw that in court. So, friends, the tipping point for marijuana reform has arrived. This weekend on Sunday, 2 teams for the Super Bowl, Seattle and Denver, face off in what we call the Stoner Bowl. The national debate has taken over America's largest pastime. We have the feisty nation of Uruguay. I love Uruguay. Love them so much. Much to the wrath of the United Nations, legalized marijuana. And when the wrath of the United Nations came, they said, we are being singled out. Go point to Colorado.